proud to be part of this university because we are a pillar. Alumni are the pillar of any institution. IUM will not be an exception. We note with pride the great achievements and the contributions made by our alumni in various fields, industries, public sector, institutions for higher learning, including IUM, and in communities countrywide. That notwithstanding, friends, I would like to encourage our alumni to actively participate in on and off campus programs that can help enrich you professionally through seminars and workshops that would address your needs. This is your university, and hence take advantage of the capacity that exists within our institution. We would also be happy if you could suggest the kind of academic programs that will meet alumni's needs for professional development and growth. If you want to grow, if you want to develop, and you think you can be of any help, please come. We are there to help you, and we'll be very proud to help you and guide you and offer you any assistance. In that regard, our alumni should feel free to contact our offices. Give us ideas, give us suggestions, so that we can do the right thing to respond to your needs and those of society and the communities. Also, if the alumni feel that the relationship between IUM and the alumni has not been to their satisfaction, then please advise us how can we make it better. How can we make our relationship better? Feel very free and open to do that. This is because we truly want our alumni to be active participants. At their alma mater. That is IUM. Let me now extend special welcome to our eminent external speakers who kindly agreed to spare part of their valuable time to be with us despite the heavy work schedule. We truly value your presence in coming here. Ladies and gentlemen, during these challenging times, artificial intelligence, that is AI, and the Internet of Things, that is IoT, can play a critical role in empowering our youth with entrepreneurial, technological skills, which will provide them with knowledge and abilities to skillfully navigate and create business opportunities for themselves and others. That's the best way to address the unemployment challenges affecting the growing numbers of unemployed youth and graduates in our country and many other countries on the continent. Let us, as an institution and as alumni, contribute the best way we can to address poverty and its associated challenges affecting our people. As this is not something that our government alone can address it. Without our active participation one way or another. The Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this event is just but among many that will be organized in the future by the able and the able leadership of Dr. Frida Shibura and her team. As an important pillar of IUM, that is Alumni, we look forward to seeing you at our alumni at our future events, so that you can continue to network and also continue to advise us on how best we can work together. Sit back, relax, engage, and please ensure that you have something to take home from the experiences that you'll be able to get today. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Before I start, I also would like to acknowledge that Emeka Sino, can you please stand? The reason why I'm asking you to stand is a council member, and he has been with us at every event. Please give him a very big round of applause. There is a person in this room that is very close to my heart. When I started out here, I had to call her constantly. In the middle of the night, early in the morning, she was always there. Please give her a big round of applause. Dr. Hendrina Uchumana, please stand, ma'am. Please stand. I mean, she's a trendsetter. She's very vibrant. I love you for that. Thank you for your assistance throughout the time that I've been here. Now let me follow the protocol that has already been established, and therefore all protocol observed. It gives me great pleasure to be here this morning, to be here at the very first IUM Alumni Networking session under the theme Alumni Innovators Shaping Tomorrow's World. Now this event couldn't have been possible. This is a joint venture. The joint venture, is that the right word? Because you guys are in business, right? That's why I use the word joint venture. So in the alumni office, we will say it's a partnership between the office of the IUM Alumni Relations and the IUM Graduate School of Business. Thank you for coming on board. We really, really appreciate that. The alumni office is a very vibrant office that can do a lot for this institution. This office is not only catering for the Alumni Association members, it caters for the university, for the students, for the global community, because why? We also have international students. They all make part of this formula. It is important to stress at the beginning that once you start with an alumni office or the Alumni Association, you need to start with a strong foundation. It should be strong. It should be firm, and it should be active. It should not be dormant, the alumni office. The foundation must be stable. There should be no question about it, but we were fortunate. The foundation was already laid by IUM itself, the university. So let us give Tatena Mandi in absentia a big hand of applause, please. Now, such a foundation, as I strongly believe, should have good character. The character should be good, it should be strong, it should be meaningful. Therefore, Namibia needs innovators who shape tomorrow's world. Innovators to make the impossible possible, right? To make the impossible possible, and we can do that. Now, the objectives of the Alumni Association Breakfast Network session this morning is to establish and promote lifelong relationships with the Alumni Association members. If you have not joined the Alumni Association, this is the time. Because if you graduate from IUM and you are alumni, you are not a member until you join the association. So that's why we gave you this morning the application forms to complete. It's very important for us, and I can see Darlene is standing in the back now. She needs the application for the alumni. Now, is to establish and promote a lifelong relationship with the IUM Alumni Association members. Number 2, to support the alumni events of the Office of the Alumni Relations, events, programs, community engagement, sports activities. When we say support, we need real support. We need financial support from our alumni, but that is not why we called you here today. It was made very clear by Professor Mandela. We need your support to build our office. And in fact, the trend is that the alumni is supposed to be the torch bearers of any institution. So you are a torch bearer, you must make yourself visible, you must make your institution visible. You need to contribute to your institution, like many alumni do in other countries. For instance, the University of the Western Cape, they are doing very well. Stellenbosch University, where my daughter went to school, they are doing very well. I think we can do it for IUM in Namibia, and give yourselves a big round of applause for that. The first one is that we are providing a platform for the alumni and the Alumni Association members to interact. We have captains of industry, we have directors of industry. There are 23 here today, so make your mark. Director of ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, building an alumni network is vital to the development of the alumni office, particularly the Alumni Association and the university as well. Now, in our office, we have started an interaction with alumni online, and it is going very well. We are getting a lot of insight, information from them, what the program should look like, and what we should be operating and focus on in this department. And that is really making us very happy because we are getting input from them. It is important to mention that the alumni office doesn't operate in isolation, so we cannot work without CIRE, the Office of the Dean of Students, or without the top management. We work in unison. And in other words, the regional campuses are all part of this. Kurukuru, Ongediva, the coastal campus is all part of the alumni. They are referred to as chapters. In addition to that, we also have affinity groups, and we refer to the affinity groups the faculty, affinity groups. Affinity group is when you associate yourself with something, and in this instance is academia. Now today we are very happy that we have the IUM Business School on board as an affinity group. Now, alumni networking is an excellent opportunity to stay connected to your alma mater after graduation. Now, platforms such as these provides valuable resources for job opportunities. You guys, we hear a lot that the youth are unemployed. The percentage is pretty high. We hear about graduates that are on the streets, which makes us feel not really good. Now, the networking provides an opportunity for you to make your mark. I'm going to make my speech very short. Now, with this networking, alumni can boost professional confidence, which is very important in a workplace, professional confidence. That provides the reassurance when newly hired employers and employers or people that have been promoted within the ranks can pull that, what do I call it, the readiness for stress level job. So that's where your professional confidence is coming in. It is also important that with these alumni, you exchange ideas. Today you will exchange ideas and find out what are these companies are going to offer. You know, perhaps someone is sitting with a CV here, that would be nice. The intention of the IUM Alumni Breakfast, ladies and gentlemen, this morning is to make sure that the alumni makes themselves visible. We provide the platform, you make yourself visible. So take it easy when you make yourself visible. Don't misinterpret that word, visible, but make yourself visible is very, very important. The network is also to contribute to social well-being of an alumni. In this regard, alumni need to maintain a healthy relationship in their employment environment. A healthy relationship in their employment environment. So with social well-being comes open conversations, right, in a workplace, boundary settings, don't overstep your boundary. Okay, when you are dealing with a senior, don't overstep your boundaries. Yes, don't overstep your boundaries, and there is what we call an underlying mutual respect. That is our culture, and we have to keep it like that. Now, in conclusion, let me say this. We have now created a platform for you. It will be an ongoing thing every year. Make yourselves visible. In conclusion. Now, finally, the Alumni Office is busy with a very exciting project. It needs to be blessed, but I'm going to get the cat out of the bag. Forgive me for that. It's going to come to you. We would like to put together what we call the IUM Alumni Scholarship Program. We are working very hard on that, and I'm glad you are here, alumni. I will expect to see really a generous contribution from alumni, from the Alumni Association members towards this project. Because this project is going to help our children to make the impossible possible. Is that correct? Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your networking with captains of industries, directors of industries, and make the best of the networking experience. And thank you.
Good morning to you all. I'm surprised you are sounding so low. I had to sleep at 9:30 preparing this for you. so I should be low-key rather than you. Good morning once more. All right. I do stand on the protocols already observed, and I would want to get straight away to what I prepared. I'm enormously pleased to welcome you all most warmly to the IUM Alumni Association Breakfast Networking, which we piggybacked on Dr. Shikuli's invitation and collaborated to make it a reality. And I also want not only to welcome you as our guests, but as our special partners and continuing friends. In this context, our partners are the business that we invited, and our continuing friends are you, our alumni, our friends of the University of Management, especially to my school, the IUM Graduate School of Business. You may be asking yourselves, who is IUM Graduate School of Business? We are a new child or a new school on the terrain. We are a disruptive, innovative business school, which we are going to pride ourselves as a fearless entity that is following in long tradition of IUM, especially its founder, who is a shrewd businessman who has charted a course in the higher education terrain of Namibia. IUM Graduate School of Business is going to be a prestigious school of business that is going to be on the precipice of dramatically changing both the face of professional and academic business programs into world-class offerings that are driven and informed by the impacts of the 4th and 5th Industrial Revolution, the dictates of Education 4.0 and 5.0, SDGs that have been mentioned already, the advent of the gig economy, and the green skills and many other contemporary factors I would like to digress a bit and to allude to a report written by the Price Waterhouse, where they say by mid-2030s, up to 30% of jobs are going to be lost to automation. And mostly women are going to be affected by such losses. Therefore, I want to assure all of you who are going to be our students that when you join IUM GSP, your experience is going to embrace technology and disruption, while at all times finding ways to humanize and connect to the new digital world of work. Our progressive focus in IUM is to hone the quality of our blended learning, coupled with a commitment to meaningful experiential exposure. That's why we are going to sign an MOU with Impact once it's approved by our principals, because they do offer internships to our students. Therefore, as we aspire to be a world-class African in general, Namibian Graduate School of Business in particular, our approach is a commitment to a lifelong learning and a dedication to high quality and innovative teaching methods. The pursuit of ethical, sustainable values and a forward-looking view of business in its role in the ever-changing world. In a world reshaping its outlook and thinking as a result of the 2019 coronavirus pandemic, we at IUM GSP are going to be offering qualifications that give you, our alumni, we are expecting you to be registering immediately after this. And all our invited businesses represented at this occasion an upper hand when it comes to co-creating strategy and ensuring corporate longevity and relevance. Our access to both well-experienced local internal staff and renowned faculty, we already have had the wide CV of our own Captain, Vice Chancellor, and our PVC. And through memorandums of understandings that we are also going to be signing with various businesses, and I see my good doctor here, we are at an advanced stage in almost signing a memorandum of understanding with Larry. We wish to ensure that all our students experience a global relevant qualification or acquire globally relevant qualification that opens doors to prized global networks. Beyond that, IUM GSP is creating a menu of highly sought after academic, professional, executive programs in education, which you are saying before you may register before leaving. Our structure at IUM is proposed as this, and it also reverberates with international norms. That is, we have an advisory board that has already been mentioned. I sit as the director, and we've got two wings, an academic wing, which deals with our academic and professional degrees and other offerings, and the other deals with business development, which is why we invited the captains of industry to come and hear it from the horse's mouth. This business development arm consists of consultancy services, executive trainings and development, research, and many other activities we anticipate to launch in the not so distant future. The IUM Business Development Wing further is a complement to the business world, to the business captains here, in that we are going to be also offering customized business programs that are tailor-made to suit specific organizational skills that are needed, such as skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. I know Dr. Anisha Peters is going to talk about the impacts of AI at some point, and I'm going to talk about it at some point as well. Currently, the IUM GSB is busy designing executive management and leadership programs that cater for a diverse spectrum of industries and private sectors. These courses will be tailor-made to address the unique needs and challenges of private enterprise, public sector, and non-governmental organizations. These cover a wide array of subjects, and these comprehensive training programs will be designed to empower professionals with the skills and knowledge required to elevate their leadership capabilities, drive organizational excellence, and maintain a competitive edge in their respective fields. The ultimate objective of these executive and leadership development initiatives is to reinforce skills and capabilities of professionals in the wake of the smart technologies, new discoveries of hydrogen and oil, the emphasis on climate change and renewable energy, and sustainable living, which requires us to transform the world of work and the introduction of disruptive skills or reskilling and upskilling of the Namibian workforce to remain competitive in the global economy. IUM will foster a culture of excellence, impactful leadership in both the public and private sectors. Currently, we host 7 qualifications, which are a PhD in business administration, a Master of Business Administration with several specializations, one in management, the other in finance management, the other in human resources, and the other in entrepreneurship, and 2 postgraduate diplomas in business administration, postgraduate in finance management. I want to talk about our teaching methodology. All our programs are offered through a blended learning mode, which uses both the learning management system, which we call LMS, and a block release, which is scheduled twice a semester, which gives you the opportunity to still be at work and learn at the same time. Furthermore, we have moved towards strengthening our students' research skills by now offering monthly seminars on research skills such as library services, research proposal structuring and writing, research approaches, literature review, qualitative data analysis, quantitative data analysis, research report, and publishing articles from the dissertation work that you produce. I'm sure by now you are asking yourselves, why should I further my studies in IUM GSP? And here are the reasons. One, to all our alumni, there is going to be a 20% discount if you enroll into any of our programs. Please prepare for that. Secondly, there is going to be flexible learning. We are going to engage a flexible learning model which can allow all access to which can allow access from all our different places of residence or work. There is a strong support for research throughout your studies. And lastly, there is an opportunity to diversify skills and self-reinvent. Equally, I believe both the public and the private sector representatives here sitting are also asking themselves, why should the industry partner or engage in MOUs with us? And here are the reasons. One, we are going to gain an extended professional network and relationship with IUM GSP. Number 2, we are unique, and that unique and effectiveness in managerial knowledge and tools for your own efficient business running. Number 4, we are going to create value for your entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial skills and enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living through a time where we must continue to learn from the past and prepare for the future. But in the face of the unprecedented change in the global scale, it is equally important that as leaders in business and society, we have the relevant competencies to learn and present the order and lead effectively in a changeable world. What is called for in this moment is a form of a leadership that is inclusive and challenging the status quo. Leadership that embraces the unusual and the uncertain, and that values the power of partnerships, be it the local, regional, and international. It is in this light that our value proposition offering in the short while will include a doctorate in business leadership, a master in business leadership, and the cornerstone of these new offerings in the masters of business leadership will be an innovative program that is underpinned by the core values of sustainability, ethics, social responsibility, and social impact. The Master of Business Leadership program will uniquely be positioned to stand out in the educational merit of Namibia, particularly as it will be the first program of its kind in the region, distinguished by its 4 distinctive specializations, which is business intelligence, data analytics, public sector, leadership and management, information management, and digital intelligence and health leadership. This groundbreaking MBL initiative promises to deliver cutting-edge education, finely tuned to the ever-evolving requirements of the contemporary business. Additionally, our commitment to enhancing academic landscape extends to the introduction of the Doctor of the Business Administration. At IUM GSP, our goal is to help companies and individuals seize the moment to shift strategically towards a new tomorrow. Our passion is to guide businesses and individuals through landscapes that are shifting and equip them with tools to navigate the ever-changing world. I want to lastly speak a bit about IUM's diverse and dynamic alumni. After going through the current alumni, there's been something that I noticed. Broadly, the alumni have significantly contributed towards the building of other institutions, including IUM. I want to name a few and not limited to them. There is Dr. Shumbuli, who is the Director of Alumni, she's a former alumni. There is Dr. Yashilundu, who is the Registrar of IUM. There is also Dr. Shikumba of Chico Group of Companies, who is also an alumni, and many more. The IUM management is curious and very innovative and driven. I want you to remember this. As a disruptive force like a Shuke Chunachula, IUM GSP intends being a disruptive force in the business schools landscape, in the region, globally, with a stream of international accreditations and affiliations. I want to leave you with these parting words. To us all, true leaders of today, as true leaders of today, let us inspire leaders of a sustainable tomorrow. I thank you.
Hello everyone once again. As mentioned, my name is Pam Brock. I'm the Head of Research and Development at Impact Tank. So for today, I just thought what would be best is if I just give a brief introduction to who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do, as well as how do we deliver our impact. Hope everyone can see. So Impact Tank is Namibia's first social impact venture builder. We seek to build and fund, invest in scalable social impact ventures using our deep insight local operations and leveraging our venture building model. We ideate and design interventions that seek to address systematically broken social issues. We validate these models, then build and grow profitable business. We were founded in 2020, so we're quite young, so we're just starting to make our place in the market. So before I get into what we do, I thought it was really important to look into why we do what we do. part of our venture building process is that each venture has to have a social impact. So when we were starting to understand what is the social impact we want to achieve in Namibia, we needed to understand what are the socioeconomic issues in Namibia. So since 2009, Namibia has been regarded as an upper middle income country by the World Bank. Despite this status, the country is characterized by many socioeconomic challenges. Number one we saw was inequalities, a major issue in Namibia. According to the Gini coefficient, Namibia is the second most unequal country, closely behind South Africa. We have a high unemployment rate, and we have about 18% of the population living in abject poverty. So these inequalities are reflected in massive gaps in standards of living opportunities for education and employment, as well as access to healthcare, which further translates to negative disparities in health, in wealth, knowledge, and health. Therefore, although Namibia is classified as an upper middle income country, only a small proportion of the population actually live under the circumstances of an upper middle income country. Even with steady economic growth, employment creation has been limited, which reveals the weak correlation between economic growth and employment creation in Namibia. If there are no productive jobs for these people, the fight against poverty will be lost, given the most important determinant whether someone in Namibia lives in acute poverty or not is whether they have employment. And then when we look into the youth, we see that the changing demographics now means that the youth now represent the majority of the population. This excess in the labor force can be seen as an asset if the youth are skilled and there are ready jobs available for them. However, youth unemployment poses a major challenge for socioeconomic development in the country, with an estimate of about 40% of youth being unemployed, and that is a national statistic. If you disaggregate that statistic across regions, we can see growth up to about 60%. So these are the main challenges we saw, and therefore we wanted to align our core objectives to these social issues, and therefore we align ourselves quite closely to the SDGs. Our focus areas are SDG 10 primarily, which is reducing inequality, and we do these activities looking into SDG 8, 4, and 1. Therefore, our core objectives for our venture building process is to increase economic productivity through driving innovation and economic diversification, create quality employment through investing in entrepreneurship, innovation and creativity, to integrate the socially excluded into the workforce, to improve employability among the youth, women, as well as disadvantaged and marginalized people, and to improve livelihoods for all. So we do this through our thematic areas, and these are the innovative spaces in which we build ventures. So we have our three thematic areas. We have our sister thematic areas, which is the blue and green economy. And we aim to transition from a brown economy to a green and blue economy. Our second thematic area is emerging technology, where we need to transition from an agrarian economy to a knowledge-based economy. And our last thematic area is indigenous knowledge, where we would like to leverage indigenous knowledge for rural livelihood diversification. Within each thematic area, we have focal points with objectives. So within the green economy, we look to invest in entrepreneurship and business ideas in sustainable agriculture, circular economy, smart agriculture, as well as green biotechnology. Our core objectives of the green economy is to improve agricultural productivity among smallholder farmers, to reduce food insecurity, ecological restoration, sustainable management of natural resources, as well as reducing waste along supply chains. Within the blue economy, similar to the green economy, our focus areas are sustainable agriculture, blue circular economy, smart agriculture, and marine biotechnology. Within emerging technology, we look at health tech, which is focused on SDG 3. We would like to increase access and uptake of healthcare services. We also look at edutech, which is where we aim to improve teaching and learning, and fintech for financial inclusion. Our last thematic area is indigenous knowledge, which we think was really important to include the rural communities into our objectives. We look at indigenous foods, indigenous plants, as well as cultural heritage, with the primary objective of reducing inequalities between rural and urban communities, leveraging rural community social and natural capital for their own livelihoods, so for them to gain autonomy over their own livelihoods, progress the development of rural communities' innovation products, as well as sustainable management of natural resources. So these are just our thematic areas and where we aim to focus and invest in entrepreneurship. So among the students, if any of you guys are interested in any of these please come to Impact Tank with any ideas within these thematic areas. So just briefly, our service offerings, we focus on venture hosting, venture building. We also have a venture fund where we would like to, once we have that fund up and running, we'll be able to invest readily in investment-ready businesses. We also do a lot of skills development, which is really about improving employability. We have research advancements where we do a lot of collaborations with universities. We are currently in the process of establishing an MOU with IUM. We also have MOUs with NAS and IUM, where we'd like to have collaboration between the students in building these innovative businesses. And then we also do partnership and outreach. So why us? We are founded with social impact objective at its core. We are structured and defined venture building process that has been proven to reach positive outcomes, deliver better livelihoods, and manage risk. Our experience, we have we've engaged over 100 entrepreneurs operating to improve their capabilities towards delivering sustainable value, leading to robust pipeline across borders to allow for scale. We are diverse, we are female-founded and women-led. Thank you. You can go to our website. If anybody is interested, please send us an email. Our offices are on Church Street, so for the young students who have innovative business ideas, please come to us with your business ideas. We can have a chat and we can partner you with the right people to grow and scale your business. Thank you.
We were colleagues at UNAM, and in fact, I see all of my colleagues here. From both NUST and UNAM, I was a faculty dean of computing at NUST as well, where we set up the Indian Caribbean Institute of Center of Excellence in IT, and then at UNAM we set up the Green Hydrogen Research Institute, and now I am at the NCRST. Can somebody please assist here? I think it needs passwords and everything else. Okay, on the program it says I have 5 minutes. I don't know what to say during 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about NCRST, because many people don't know what NCRST really does. And then I will start with the presentation. But then I will take injury time, I will take extra time, and I'll take second So starting off, the NCRST is the National Research Regulator of Namibia. Who knew that? Dr. Mbula should rather not put up his hand because he was the founding CEO. It's the National Research Regulator of Namibia. The act that founded the NCRST of 2004 stipulates the following: monitor, supervise all research, science, technology, and innovation related matters within Namibia. So we are the ones that issue the research permits. We also make sure that we know how many scientists are here, we know all of the information and the data on research, science, and technology in Namibia. Another function that the Act assigns to the NCRST is to ensure that we have a national program on research, science, technology, and innovation. It usually runs in cycles of 3 to 5 years. The first one had expired, we're busy with the second one. Now, the national program is also in other countries known as the National Research Agenda. The National Research Agenda defines the priorities for research in the country. It means that we say, for instance, these are the top priorities. We are busy developing those. We've also consulted quite a lot, including with IUM as well. And it defines, for instance, green hydrogen, oil and gas, digitalization, health, education, etc., climate change, etc. So it defines all of the priorities, and then it looks at how are we moving forward for the next 5 years. It usually runs with the NDPs, so right now NDP 6 is kicking off. So we are actually looking at what are the gaps defined to reach Vision 2030, and what will NDP 6 focus on, and then we set the priorities for the country. All universities, all research institutes, etc. in Namibia, if you're registered as a research institution or doing research, you have to align with what the national priorities are. Of course, we provide funding as well. We're also responsible for all national research facilities and infrastructure. We, for instance, have already a national biotechnology lab in Namibia. That's where we do all of the testing on GMOs, because we have a Biosafety Act that NCRST is responsible for sort of implementing. We are responsible also for establishing all of the councils in Namibia. In other words, we have the Biosafety Council, we are appointing now the Space Science Council, the Indigenous Knowledge Council is being established next year. The appointments will be done next year. Then we are also overall responsible for monitoring, coordination, promotion, and development of research, science, and technology. So any type of capacity building, especially for postgraduate students in research, capacity building within research. We do the R&D infrastructure surveys. We've just actually done the R&D landscape survey of Namibia, where we are determining what is the GERD, if you've ever heard of GERD. It is the expenditure on R&D, the government expenditure on R&D in the country, right? It also defines how many full-time researchers we have versus how many researchers we have in general. And oftentimes you will see that we have, for instance, the global innovation indexes, competitiveness indexes. All of those figures are drawn from what we produce at the NCRST. National Innovation Survey, etc. All of those figures are produced from us. So we also have a very important function, and that is that we're responsible for policy guidance on research, science, and technology in Namibia. In other words, we have to advise the government, parliament, the president, etc. on all matters related to science and technology within Namibia. So there's a lot more, because I think it's like 2 pages long in the act of what we have to do, because we have all of the science promotion programs as well, the National Science Fair, the National Science Quiz, the National Math Olympiad. Maybe you've seen those or participated, the National Science Week, National Space Week, etc. All of those fall under our ambit. So it's quite, you know, a very big portfolio that it has. But that's what the NCRST does. Okay, so because we're determining the future directions of where the country should go and what those priorities are, as well as those infrastructure that we would need, equipment, human resources, etc. This is then also where I think this topic on skills and AI in particular is coming into being. In the white paper of the NDP 6, for instance, digitalization was acknowledged as something that did not receive a lot of attention in previous NDPs and in the Vision 2030 itself. So it is coming very prominent. Some of the early studies that were done by Harvard Growth Lab to look at which sort of industries should Namibia develop. One of the industries that is indicated is actually to develop the digital sort of development or solutions industry. In other words, set up virtual software development centers and make sure that we have all of the infrastructure and all of the skills. So that is one of the recommendations in NDP 6. So, last week, in fact, I just came back, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I spent time in the US Sciences, Engineering and Medicine, as well as the National Science Foundation in the US, because those are our sister organizations. And this was funded and initiated by them. And this was artificial intelligence for scientific discovery. It brought together many experts from different fields around the world. It was kind of like US-centric mostly. And we were 3 from Africa, only 3. Myself, 1 from South Africa, and the head of global research in Kenya. That accounted for the African continent. What was being discussed is AI as scientist or AI as research assistant to scientists. Which way are we going? So the aim of this was to basically look at what are the next grand challenges in AI that needs to be funded. This was particularly for the National Science Foundation, our sister organization, on what they must fund, as well as all of the Bill and Melinda Gates foundations and all of the funding agencies. So that was sort of what it was. One of the things, grand challenges, for instance, is looking at something that is almost impossible. Dr. Frida uses the words, making the impossible possible. So you're looking at something that seems to be impossible, and you're looking at, if I fund this, will this be possible, and what are the implications? So one of the grand challenges that's currently ongoing is the Nobel Turing Challenge. In other words, can AI produce scientific discoveries on its own that can win the Nobel Prize? And the Turing AI Scientist Grand Challenge says, developing AI systems capable of making Nobel quality scientific discoveries highly autonomously at a high level comparable and possibly superior to the best human scientists by 2050. In other words, AI on its own, the challenge is to outperform humans in making scientific discoveries by 2050 that is worth the Nobel Prize. How does that sound? Disturbing, scary, etc. And yet, we are already in that age. If you see where they are going with AI in healthcare, for instance, the AI is actually better at predicting and making sense out of the data, predicting what could possibly be a cure for certain diseases, right? Humans are, of course, better on certain things. Now, you know, of course, that the AI developments came also through challenges, such as the first one was the IBM Watson AI that beat the human Jeopardy champion, and then Google's DeepMind AI beat the Alphabet, the Go. Go is a game champion. So now it is, can they beat us at being the best in our scientific endeavors? As I said, we were 3 persons from Africa. But if you look at Africa today, and I took the slides from Google Slides, there are about 3 billion plus Africans, right? And our population will just be growing. We have over 2,000 languages in Africa, and yet, if you look at translation languages today on your phone, I mean, if I go on, on Facebook and LinkedIn and X, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, and people write in Oshimango now, I want to see whether they're writing. And I click on the translator. What am I getting? What does it return? Sometimes it actually translates. but oftentimes it doesn't know what to do when I click translate. And that's the challenge that we have, that we don't have those translator tools. Our languages are not yet contained as language models. So in other words, you cannot frame a query on ChatGPT or BART AI in your own language. How many Wikipedia articles are there in Oshirero? How many? Does anybody know? Should we not be generating our own articles in our own languages so that our languages don't die out with the era of AI? Shouldn't AI be taught what our languages are? So that was one of the challenges that was actually presented. And then of course all of our ethnic groups, and I work on a research project that is looking at defining an ethical, responsible, human-centric and Africa-centric AI. We have to build into our own AI models, our own values, our own stereotypes, our own norms, our own cultures, etc. Because right now what we're adopting is developed somewhere else. Majority of the designers are 80% white males from European countries. Or not European countries, but Western countries. So another 3 of the African challenges presented was eradicating malaria, flood forecasting, and food security, using AI to achieve those. Now, I was just talking about the Africa-centric AI. I was at the Automotive UI as one of the speakers, I think about 3 weeks ago, just before I went to the US. Automotive UI looks at all of the interfaces and technology that you build into cars. You have the cameras, you have the sensor systems, you have the vision systems, you have everything, right? But now I'm sitting there and I'm listening to how they're developing this. One of the studies from one of the labs for self-driving cars says, oh, we had a sample of 44 males, right? But those males were German males, white males. We asked them why only males, and they're saying, when you introduce women, they're too different from men, how they drive cars, etc. Think about it. Think about also, because I told them, do you know that your cars and your self-driving instruments and all of your technology in the car reaches Africa? I asked some of the labs over there, like the Bosch lab, etc., that makes these technologies, who do you do the user testing with? Guess what they said? Most of those labs said, no, we ask our friends in the lab. But our friends are the same. They're in the same conditions, they're in the same city, right? They have the same behavior. Okay, so now I'm saying to them, okay, but now, those self-driving cars, those electric cars, those hydrogen cars in the future, are coming to us. And what happens? That camera cannot pick up that all of the time there is a donkey running across the road, right? It needs to be able to see that. It needs to be able to cut through the dust that will build up on its, on the car. You know what it looks like when a car has gone through all of the sand? And then if those cameras don't work anymore, they can't detect anything, right? The vision systems don't work. That means that that car will crash. The other thing is, whenever I drive, we have so many trucks on the roads. Namibia is claimed to have the best roads in Africa, yet we have the highest fatalities, right, per capita. Why is that? Except for speed. When I drive on these roads, I oftentimes just wish, and sometimes I feel like if I have a moment of free time, I will actually build it, is to have an antenna that will go out from my roof, right? It extends, and it has a 360-degree camera, because I just want to know how many trucks am I dealing with in front of me. Imagine this that shows me, that has a camera attached to it to the front, that shows me what the road looks like, right? Why can we not have those type of things in America? So, with those researchers, we said we will get researchers and students from Namibia and from Africa to join together with people over there. We do some of the testing, but we do, most importantly, we do some of the development here. Because we need to influence that. Because how will somebody in Germany or in the US or wherever know what it's like to drive on our dusty roads? How will they ever know? And why do we have so many accidents? Because it's not designed for us. Okay, I can talk more about cars, but watch this space because we will have a boot camp soon on designing for cars for African roads. Okay, so coming to where is AI going? In the 1st and the 2nd of November, I'll go off to Geneva. They have an AI experts only meeting where we are going to be discussing what are the next frontiers in AI and what are the ethics of AI that we need to look at. And we want to actually come up with a new Geneva pact on that. Then I'll go off to Morocco in January to discuss also with experts from around the world the new frontiers that AI is bringing in. And then I think I have to go to Leeds because there's something called, these people are a little bit crazy. They want me to speak about the human in the chaos of AI. What will be the role in the future? Okay, so you get the picture, where we're going with AI. Now, Goldman Sachs predicted that 300 million jobs will be lost or degraded by AI. And automation creates innovation, which leads to new types of jobs. And for companies, there will be cost savings thanks to AI. But new jobs are created. In the World Economic Forum report that came out in April, this was in March, in April, their prediction is that the jobs that will be, the new jobs that will come up will only be, I think, 89 million, right? So there will be a number of jobs that will be lost forever, but they will not be replaced by new jobs. So this is the reality that we're facing. These figures keep on growing. The gap between new jobs created versus jobs lost keeps on growing. I want to quickly show you this slide. Even if you had who had graduated ever with the IT degree? Anyone? Your qualifications are almost obsolete. If you do not continuously update and upgrade yourself with what's coming out. You know, suddenly you have prompt engineers after 30th of November last year with ChatGPT coming up. Suddenly you have automation tagging engineers coming up. There are so many new things coming up that Namibia is actually not having any of those skills. If you picture me one person, maybe there will be one or two, but certainly not three. And I don't count one or two as critical mass, which means that this is where we need to go. I've just shown you where the world is going. Namibia will have to follow. We can't forever sit and close our eyes and say, oh, AI is not coming for us. So we need to be sure that we are part of the destiny shapers. In other words, that we become AI specialists, etc. And another thing is that to become an AI specialist, our way of teaching and skilling is changing. Right now, in Rwanda and in Kenya, there are big software development centers, AI development centers, where there are 18-year-olds sitting with hoodies over their heads, coding. They are coding software that is meant for the world out there, right? It's not even for them. So if Namibia doesn't also change the education system, in other words, there will always be space for a university degree, but university degrees, even to go through the curriculum development process, is a nightmare. It takes 2 years, right, to roll out new programs. Within 2 years, I've got news for you. That program in AI that you want to roll out, if you have a specialization, it's old, it's obsolete. So the new way of skilling AI engineers and specialists is actually by upskilling. In other words, you do coding academies. This is what in East Africa and West Africa that they're doing. You're doing coding academies and you push them through on boot camps, right? Block programs, let's say for 6 months or so. That's how you train them. Kids coming out of the school, you can train them like that as well. So this is why we need to adapt to the new way of how we're doing things. Namibia has quite a large, population of unemployed youth. But because the youth is, a sizable proportion of them have a first degree, they're unemployed. Because they have a first degree, you can upskill them quickly. It's the same for green hydrogen, it's the same for oil and gas, it's the same for AI. They don't need to go and reinvent the wheel and go back to school first year. You can work with what you have. And this is the new type of models that we want to look at. And this is why one of the 4IR recommendations was actually an AI institute, because you can do R&D there, you can do skilling there, you can do all of your projects there, right, for Namibia and abroad, and you can push them through the pipeline, within a period of time. Let's say you aim for 5,000 now, 5,000 next year. See, I'm not saying 50, because we are usually aiming for too low. And then the people are disappearing because they go overseas or they find a job, and then we're saying, no, but once upon a time we did train 50. No, we need to keep the momentum going. That's how we're going to build a pipeline. Anyways, it's quite scary where AI is going. I mean, we've been seeing it for quite some time, but I think others haven't seen it. In December this year, OpenAI will launch ChatGPT 5. That's their prediction. And they are building in ChatGPT 4 already in their robots. In America is running with it, but New will run with ChatGPT 5. What is the significance of this? How you're probably using ChatGPT or how you're using Bart AI is probably in text mostly. But it's actually capable of recognizing images, videos, it can work with all of this. So putting this into a robot is almost like making a humanoid, right? And so one of the pictures of the frowning robot is actually a mecha. I interacted with a mecha at one stage. Right now, we can't even say, we used to say that creativity is going to save us. Guess what? Not. AI is generating so many images. Now I want to show you the currently, you can't see properly. I'm going to skip to the end. Can you see that lady? That picture? Midjourney created it. I told Midjourney, I would like to have a Namibian woman, that's all. I just said Namibian woman. Is that accurate? From the sand, the background, in the back, it looks Namibian. It looks like a Namibian woman, right? It was created by AI, nothing else. There were no images, nothing. Then I told it that I wanted to see what would be an AI institute look like in Namibia. And down there is what it created in the desert. Right? Pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So the message is that in Namibia we have to get serious on this. Now I really want to touch on, let me just see. I want to touch on the 4IR country report. How many of you know that it's publicly available since the beginning of the year on the President's website? How many have seen it? How many have read it? I'm looking at Doc, he doesn't even say yes. Anybody? Thank you. It's worth reading it. It's on HPP2 website, right? Or just Google 4IR task force. We're the only one who had a task force South Africa at a commission, and you will hit it in your first query. So, what we did on this, for those in academia, there isn't a 4IR readiness assessment tool yet. UNESCO is only developing AI readiness assessment tools right now. But there wasn't anything existing, which meant that we actually had to develop something for Namibia. So what we did was we took the World Economic Forum's Future of Production instrument, and you have to use it as we measured Namibia, and Namibia got a score and got added to the countries that were assessed, and we added some Namibianization on it. We said preconditions for 4IR readiness would be infrastructure, education, innovation systems, and then what would be the applications within Namibia where we see that it should be rolled out to. Now, of course, we had, these are all Namibian companies, Namibian public who participated, drivers of production. This is a validated instrument from the World Economic Forum. We used it in its totality, and Namibia got a score of 3. Placed in the nascent quadrant, meaning that Namibia is not ready, right? That's what it means. However, of all of the African countries evaluated, none of them were ready. All of them were in the nascent quadrant. There is where Namibia is. Do you see the yellow? So, there, Mauritius, Botswana, South Africa, Tunisia, and Ghana are above Namibia. The rest are below Namibia. And then one of the interesting things is we were looking at education in general. Every single segment was looked at in detail. But Namibia's digital skills amongst the population looks okay. Although I do say that digital literacy, though, is needed. Or the normal digital skills, working on your thing, working on Word and Excel, those are okay. But the country's ability to attract and retain talent was not good, right? So all of the ones that are highlighted in yellow means that those are the lowest scored of all of the African countries that we were compared to. Then, if you look at Namibia, is one of the big spenders on education. You probably all know that already. We have almost the highest spend on education. However, if you look at the outputs from education, it's not good. Namibia has the lowest by far in the region amongst all of the African countries assessed in terms of ICT graduates. I was shocked on that. I thought that we were doing okay, but we're not. We have the lowest. So how are we going to move AI forward with something like that? This figure is from 2019. With something like that. I don't think it changed up to now. So this is something where we need to concentrate on. And then, in general, education did not look very good. I think everybody knows, probably suspects that. Today, when you have somebody on the street who wants to be upskilled and reskilled, they don't know where to go to. The VTCs are not ready for them to upskill. The employers are complaining that the graduates walking in through their doors are not properly prepared. And we know that, of course, they will have to invest a little bit more because they will never be ready-made. But the amount of time and money that they have to spend to upskill them for the job is actually tremendous. And then we know that we have a problem within the, there's like the technician level skills are missing because we don't college, etc. So there's, in the report, it is extensively covered. So please go and read that report. In the end, what we came up with was 13 recommendations. And these recommendations follow sort of this house style. First of all, there's a problem of a lot of fragmentation and duplication and uncoordination within the Namibian system. I think for just about anything, but also in the education system, and then of course to do for IR. Just think how many has technology in there, even we have technology now. So one of the things was that we said there needed to be an overarching body that oversees the implementation, even though the various agents will do the implementation. And then there needs to be a national consolidated FOIA strategy. Because everybody's coming up with a strategy, a digital strategy, and that one for FOIA, we negotiated the sponsorship for the national digitalization strategy. But other people want to come up with an AI strategy, other people want to come up with this. There needs to be a harmonization. And then, of course, education reform is a big one, because preparing people for the future of work is not going to happen with the current system that we have. For our infrastructure is another problem, which is going to become more prominent now with oil and gas and with green hydrogen. So that needs a lot of beefing up. And then, of course, financing and investment, policy and legislative environment is another big one. And then, of course, it looked at the AI Institute, national data centers, government data centers, R&D, innovation, cybersecurity is becoming more prominent with developments in AI, e-government, future of work. And then finally, global trade and investment. And I'm going to sort of wrap up with this. One of the bigger problems that we have in the country, if you're talking about youth entrepreneurship and innovation and startups and MSMEs, we constantly hear that youth are being told to look beyond Namibia at other borders, at other markets, etc. Maybe in your businesses you want to look beyond Namibia and other markets. But you face a problem, especially if you're not an established business. The international pay gates is a huge problem for Namibians. People who are entertainers, people who are developing tech solutions, people in the tourism industry, etc. Anything where you're selling online outside of the country, you are unable to cash out your money in the country. How many have tried that? How many knows that that's a problem? You cannot cash out. If you have money in PayPal, if you have money in WePay, if you have money in whatever other international money format, you can't cash it out. You have to travel to South Africa, go open a bank account there and cash it out at the FNBs and the net banks and the whoever else. It's a big problem, and you know what it's causing? It's causing our youth to be kept hostage by not being able to make their own money. You can have $2,000 in that wallet internationally, but you cannot use it in Namibia. And this is one of the big problems that's ongoing. I believe that the Investment Promotion Board is busy with taking it further. And so, going forward, this is sort of just a summary of what I've said on AI, where it's going, skilling and reskilling. At NCRST, certainly within the national research agenda, we are also paying attention to it. We will also soon announce the launching of a similar sort of grand AI challenges call in Namibia, and in fact not only Namibia but across Africa, because we have a few partners who are interested in doing that. And then we should shift our mindset. We used to say digitalization or ICT, AI is an enabler. It's not an enabler anymore. It is actually the change agent for industrialization. So it's the driver. Thank you.
First and foremost, I'd like to really extend appreciation and gratitude to the invite from the IUM Alumni Association, most especially because I believe it's your first alumni networking event, and I believe it will be an annual event, and I hope after I speak that I will also be part of the Alumni Association and be with you through this exciting journey. I am Helen Polo. Before I get into my actual speech or presentation rather, I just want to connect with you a little bit, because what I'm going to talk to you about is creating business opportunities through relationships. And I think relationships are actually one such element that we take for granted. But as we move along in our careers, as we develop as human beings, it becomes much more important. And I see there's potentially a lot of graduates here. I can tell you that when you move up your corporate ladder, what becomes very important is the relationships that you build within an organization, within your sector, and that really determines how far you go. Usually we're told that to be able to do your job, you need to have skills, rightfully so, you need to have knowledge, rightfully so. You need to have the right attitude, which we know is very, very important, but I think they need to add a fourth element to that. You need to be able to build and maintain relationships. So, I said I'm Helen, so I just want to share a little bit about myself so that we can connect and create that relationship. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the development bank for those that may not have the insights to what development bank does. So I'm Helen. I was given the name Helen Benelago Ampolo. I was established in 1983. Yeah. I'm old to some, but young to many. I'm a firstborn of both of my parents. I'm left-handed. I think they say it's 10% of the population that is left-handed. And with that, I'm very artistic. I can sketch you as you are right there. I've been born and bred in Windhoek. So given qualities, I'm a female, I'm Namibian, and I've been raised by my grandmother. I think that resonates with most of us. My dad was in business, he's late. And my mom just retired. And she's been, as much as I can remember, been in the military force. And her latest profession has been an Air Force commander. So relationships there are actually quite interesting. But I will not get into that. So my chosen traits are that I am a mother of 2 sons, 9 years and 1 year. I have chosen to go to school, or rather to go to tertiary education to further my studies. I'm a Christian. I enjoy sports, athletics to be specific. I enjoy movies and documentaries. Documentaries, all sorts, crime, sports, theft. My mom says, she won't go now. I don't know, maybe somebody can translate. This is like because I watch the most extreme of them. Behind bars. I don't know. It's just something that I enjoy. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy the outdoors, and I enjoy cooking, and most especially fine dining. My core, I believe, I'm a considerate person. I can be outspoken, very competitive, ambitious, always about self-development, tolerant, not patient, but tolerant, and I'm self-driven, so I really am my own cheerleader, and I would encourage that to also be a trait of anyone that really wants to self-develop. So I hope with that, I have connected with you and you know who's in front of you. So, just in general, when we talk about relationships, what comes to mind is girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, but it's really more than that. Relationships are everywhere, on a personal level, on a business level. Relationships are what basically binds the global community. Relationships are what binds the continents, country level, institutions, community level, and so forth. But I think the most important is that relationships are people. So that's where it stops. So when you look at institutions, look beyond that. Institutions are run by people. So if you want to connect with an institution, you must first connect with the people. Because we most often look at institutions as a static body, but it's really run by people. So if you really want to connect with a certain institution, you connect with the people. So from where I come from, maybe it's opportune now to just talk a little bit about the Development Bank. So the Development Bank is a development finance institution. It was established in 2002 by an act of parliament. It gave out its first loan in 2004. So that makes it 19 years, almost 2 decades. So we're still growing. And I've been fortunate enough to be, or have been part of that journey for about 15 years. So I've literally grown up in the bank. And the mandate of the bank is really to foster economic development, economic growth, socio-economic development for Namibia. And how we do that is primarily premised on 2 strategic objectives, and that's really to mobilize financial resources to enterprises that are in critical sectors at once in Namibia. And that is really to ensure that whatever we finance is financially viable and sustainable. And secondly, it's to foster relationships among like-minded institutions in this championing of development, because we can't do it alone, and that's where relationships come from and are important in our context. Our business, really in a nutshell, is to grow the loan book. I'm sure within your personal space, with your banks that you bank with, you've come across the term relationship managers. It's called relationship because they need to be close to you to generate sales. So sales and relationships go hand in hand. We can't grow the bank's loan book, we can't generate business, we can't transact, we can't originate transactions if we don't foster relationships. I think most often we concentrate on the numbers, the technicalities, but really it's the soft issues that get us from here to there. It's the relationships that we build in the market, the relationships that we build within the bank, the relationships that we build with our stakeholders, whether it's public sector or private sector. So those relationships are what will move the needle in terms of growing the loan book. So yesterday, or rather the day before, as part of our strategic planning initiatives, as a bank, we're going around talking to a number of institutions, and this really is to gain insights as to how we can collaborate with them as we are basically crafting our next year 5-year strategic plan. And when we sit in those meetings and in those discussions, we realize that we don't talk to each other. So the same way as a person, you might not have spoken to your neighbor and you live in this neighborhood for 2 years, it's similar to institutions. We don't talk to each other. We operate in silos. We don't collaborate. We collaborate on paper. We say we cooperate with the institution, but I've been at DBN for 15 years, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but only last week, or 2 weeks ago, I stepped into the offices of NAMPOST. And NAMPOST is literally just across the Development Bank. It's on email, rightfully so, yes, we need to use the platforms, but that face-to-face connection, that human interaction is just as important, because that's where you gain the most value. So in one of these meetings where we're now going around soliciting ideas and trying to find ways of how to collaborate with institutions, we visited And as we were talking, we realized that as a development bank, there are other development agents in Namibia, but there's no forum for us. We go meet in South Africa, abroad, and we try and connect there, but we're not connected here. And I think that shouldn't be the case. We need to connect at home so that when we go out, we are a united force, we're a united front, we speak the same language, and that we're connected. So it's really embarrassing. We meet in Cape Town. There's what we call a regional SADC DFRC forum. So it's a regional African, sub-Saharan African network of all the development banks in Southern Africa. So we meet periodically. So such a forum would be ideal if each country has a forum like that, so that when we go and meet on the other side, the likes of IUM Bank, NHE, and EIF, etc., that we don't go say hi there, but we've already established that here. So through these meetings, we realize that we don't really have proper relationships, and maybe that's why the business opportunities are not coming. And hence why I believe relationships are really the cornerstone, and that they really do precede opportunities. I have been given strict instructions to manage time. I'll try my very best. So what I'll do is I'll just focus on what are those key aspects that one needs to harness to foster a good relationship. So I'll start with a quote by Robin Sharma, which I'm sure most of you will know, that the business of business is relationships. And the business of life is human connection. So there has to be human connection for you to build that relationship. That's now on the human side. But on the business side of things, there needs to be a relationship between institutions. But before there's a relationship between institutions, there needs to be a relationship between the people within the institutions. I had to read that a couple of times just to sing. So how do you connect? How do you make that, how do you start the relationship? Very simple. You make the first move. And I think men are very good at this. They typically, it hasn't changed. They typically make the first move. So you need to break down the silos, and I believe one also needs to be, as much as you want to approach, you too need to be approachable. Courage is very important. Just to take that first step, I want to talk to her or him. It's very important because you can't build a relationship if you're not bold enough to make that first move. So that means getting out of your comfort zone. So we're always in our comfort zone. By comfort zone, I don't mean at home sitting in your couch, but it could be your comfort zone in your field, in your sector, in your social circle. You want to always confine yourself, where you are comfortable. So I'm an investment banker. I'm just talking to other investment bankers. Oh, how much can I learn there? If I want to learn more, I need to speak to engineers, I need to speak to people within the social sciences, I need to speak to people in the AI. So you need to forever, diversify who you surround yourself with. And that's the only way you can get out of your comfort zone. And through the process, you need to know yourself and be yourself in order to make that first move. Secondly, it's showing up. I believe we all took a shower this morning. Not? We did. And you do that as your first step of showing up. You need to be presentable. And presentable is not really just how you are dressed, it's how you behave, how you talk. Because your behavior, like behavior attracts like behavior. Have a friendly attitude, be on time. Sometimes in the bank, when we have meetings with clients, they say, there's another rule that says, don't judge a book by its cover. But in banking, that doesn't apply. You walk into the banking halls, I'm already measuring up. I'm measuring you up by how you are dressed. Are you going to come ask for $1 million, 100,000, 10 million, just by how you appear? And so in one of the meetings we're having, clients normally come to the bank to pitch their ideas. And after the meeting, the client left. And then one of the managers said, "Did you see how he was dressed?" So then I was like, no. How do you wear a yellow suit with red shoes? So when the others have to do with the business idea. Yeah, but still, I mean, it just shows that this guy is crazy, unpredictable, you can't trust him. But it's just to say that really how you appear is how you will be addressed. How you dress is how you will be addressed. And it's everywhere. It's in banks as well. How you show up is how you impress. So that will definitely be judged. Be very strategic. So when you want to make that connection, that relationship, due diligence is key. Know your targets, study your targets, so that when you do make that first move, you've already found out what the person likes or what the institution is about, so that you can get the conversation going. And it's something that I always tell my colleagues: if you're going to pitch development bank financing products anywhere, we also need to know our targets so that we appear to be considerate and we appear to want to work together and not ask your preliminary questions on the day of the meeting. So what you do, that needs to come beforehand. And I think that goes without saying. You need to build trust, listen attentively, show interest, pay attention, and really find common goals that can allow you to interact and to have a conversation further that can help build other relations. So I'll just try and run through these. And this is actually one that is cliche, but that I saw demonstrated many times by clients that I meet or interact with at the bank. So time is of essence. You need to seize the moment. Some relationships, when you build them, you build them through luck. You stumble across somebody and then you get introduced to somebody, and you might not meet that somebody again. So you make sure that you make that impression, you seize the moment, you create impact so that when you part, it's likely to, live beyond the moment. So an example here, I have a client who had a restructuring that he needed. So this is basically a client that was in distress. He came into the bank. Loan account has expired. So typically what follows is that the bank needs to call up, collect, take it to what we call workout and recovery so that we can liquidate and part ways. So this client came in and said, "Oh, Helen, what do I do now?" So I said, "Well, you need to speak to the boss." Okay. So as he's standing in the banking hall, the boss walks past. And his natural reaction says, when the boss walks past, you just say, "Oh, hi, Mr. X." So my client, instead of just saying, "Hi, Mr. X," he literally, and Mr. X came, who's the boss now. After just saying hi, he just started, "I have this issue, I want you to help me with X, Y, Z, So I'm looking at my client to say, "You have to do it now." And then at the end of the conversation, the boss said, "Okay, make an appointment through my PA tomorrow. I will collect the necessary excomming bills, we sit and we sort your issue out." So when that was done and the boss left, I'm like, "But I just thought you were going to say," I said, "Helen, you must learn to seize the moment. Whenever will I have this moment to see your boss walk past here and I'm the only one in your banking hall? Whenever will it happen again?" So seize the moment. And the next day, which was actually yesterday, we had the meeting, case closed, a resolution was made. So for me, that's quite critical. So when you have a moment that you know you never get again, seize that moment. I think I've spoken about investing in relationships. So when you look at relationships, look at them really not as transactions, but as investments. It has to be sustainable. Invest in a relationship so that tomorrow you'll be able to reap back from that arrangement. Be open-minded. We're very close-minded when we meet people. We're quick to judge what you do. We assign titles. We look at age. You know, I can't talk to you. You're too young. You're too old. You're from this place and that. So I think with relationships, there are no boundaries. You need to be open-minded. And as you build your careers, that is a quality that will really take you far, because then all the options will be available to you. You're open to discuss new ideas. You make sure that you build a network of diverse people that are around you, so that you remain unlimited in terms of the potential that you can gain from your relationships. And it's a two-way street, goes without saying. MOUs are spoken about today. Institutions have MOUs in terms of making sure that they leverage that relationships that articulate, terms of reference, what are you going to give me, what am I going to get out of this. So it's not just you giving, but make sure that you also get from that relationship. We all have friends, we all have relatives. I've got friends from different sectors, different walks of life. Why should I struggle if I've got a lawyer friend and I'm struggling to have a legal matter solved? Why can't I just knock next door? I have a doctor friend. I'm not saying that he or she should treat me, but why should I not sound check whatever I'm going through for my doctor friend or my pharmacist friend or whatever? So we really need to leverage on our relationships. Go from the platonic stage that we usually keep it. We normally have superficial relationships. She's my friend, but what are you really benefiting from it? So make sure that you really have relationships that you can harness from the inner circle that you already find yourself with. And this is also something that we take for granted. Yeah, keep in touch, keep in touch. Stay very close, do regular check-ins. I challenge you today as you're sitting here. Take one contact today that you will check, somebody that you never met. I'm not sure. I hope they are strangers amongst you. Somebody that you've never met. You get that contact and you make sure that you check in once in a while and make that sustainable. We go to different places all the time, we meet people, we don't exchange contacts, and that's it. And some of these contacts can really open your doors in the future. You may be talking to your next employer or your next employer's daughter, you never know. So make contact, don't become strangers, follow up, you've got all the platforms, social media, etc. But my belief is really physical interaction, face-to-face, coffees, lunches, what have you. I personally make it my business to sit with somebody of value. It doesn't have to be a friend, just sit with somebody that I feel I can tap from in terms of value. At least once in every 2 weeks. A coffee with somebody that you feel, this person I want to tap into. And you'll be surprised, people are very much open to that. It doesn't mean that if you're not at a certain corporate level or not making it in life, as a term is used lately, that you cannot access those that you feel you want to be associated to. It's really possible. It's really possible. When I was doing my master's many years back, I reached out to the current First Lady via email. And at the time she was starting a stimulus fund, and the assignment was in venture capital. And at the time, our private equity sector was very thin, so she was basically the pioneer in the space. So I thought she could help me in my assignment. I didn't have access to her. I knew people that knew her. So I started off with an email, and the person had to first contact her to get green light to give me the email. And mind you, by then she was not even First Lady, she was just her. So I sent the email. You know when you send something, it's like gambling, and you're like, if something comes. If something doesn't come, it's okay. So I sent that email, and the assignment was due on a Friday, just an example, and I think I reached out to her maybe a week before. Simon then came, she didn't respond. So I said, it's okay. I can hand in the assignment anyway. So I did. I think 2 or 3 months later, a response came. Hi, Helen, I was in and out of the country, do you still need help, You know, very apologetic. You know, I had already submitted my assignment, but just the fact that this woman came back to me and offered the assistance that I was actually seeking for, I was like, I'm done. This is all I needed. So really, you'll be surprised to who is accessible to you. Nobody is inaccessible. You just need to make the first move. In closing, patience. And I had that patience. Business relationships take time, so do personal relationships. And if relationships take time, those opportunities will also take time. It may take time, but eventually, definitely, it always pays off. And in closing, I will say that succeeding is all about making connections. We can talk about the technical things, but the soft issues are equally important. And as you rise through your careers, as you rise through your corporate ladder, the technical skills become less irrelevant because then you have people that can do the job. What becomes more important is the relationships that you form as you go ahead. And with that, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
My job is quite very simple, and I would like to put it in 2 minutes just to say thank you. But before that, I would like to just begin to thank Dr. Namani. Prof. Namani is not here, but the IUM Alumni is standing here because of Prof. Namani. If it wasn't for his mission, today we would not be celebrating our graduates. So for that, I would like to say thank you so much. And then a special thank you will go to the IUM Governing Council. Mr. Asino, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Thank you so much for the great support that we've been receiving from your office. And not to leave out our Vice Chancellor, Prof. Mandela. Thank you so much. I know you are very busy, but definitely we will be knocking at your door almost every second month. So we will be there. So thank you so much for your presence and your welcoming speech. I would also like to thank our keynote speaker. I now know how to go get the money. I know how to go get the money from DBN. So please, when I come with the heels, so let's make sure, I just want to say thank you so much for running us through and making sure that the nitty-gritty that we always think are not important when we put in this application are quite outlined. I'm one doctor will tell you, when it comes to sugar, I'm always very fit. But now I know the element in these small details. So thank you so much for your words. We are now fully prepared, and I believe all our graduates, as our professor was here saying that half of the jobs will be out of the market. We are now the job creators. We are now to knock this side at our corporate companies and say, look, this is what I can offer, and can we work together? With that, I would like to thank our professor, Anissa. In her absence, thank you so much. I was one of those who received those grades to start a business. You know, and every time I see NTRSD, I always very much appreciate it to them. You know, as young people, they really support young people. As she said, go to their website. You know, the details are there on how to. Those are quite very friendly, especially to our graduates. When we want to study further, when we want to do research, that is the right doors to knock. Do not, as you heard, your qualification is only relevant now, but in the long run, it's not relevant. I was just debating and I told them, you need to, as the IT, you need to develop AI for us. We don't want fixing computer, we want the robots to fix the computer. And I believe Namibia is the one to develop it. We quite have intelligent people, especially the products of IUM. And with that, I would also like to thank Ms. Pear, the Head of Research and Development at Impact 10 as well. They are based at Uniquest, and they quite, especially when also, as she spoke, the different projects they have, especially the venture capital. We have mainly brought the room of, we don't want to hear, I don't have a job. We now want to hear, how do I partner to create employment? We have brought everybody in the room that ensure that we have brought to the tools. With that, I would like to thank her. And then my special doctor, Dr. Frida, oh my goodness, she is the founder, no, I say she's the founder of the IUM Alumni. She's the first consultant. She set up everything, and being the first student, the first staff member, I've actually witnessed and learned so much about in everything. She's one of the people who say, I'm not young, you should do it, you are the young people. So thank you so much, Doctor, for believing in the young people and ensure that you push them in the forefront. Dr. Ishmael, the director of the IUM Graduate School of Business, and Dr. Blessing and Ms. Eileen, thank you so much for working with us, calling us upon and believing that we could deliver, and we have delivered. I want to say that. Thank you so much for the collaboration, and please, anyone with a diploma, a degree, the door is open. As you said, we are going to be launching one of the kind courses that are not at other universities. So if you really want to make sure that your qualification holds water and is stating when AI comes, it's stating this is the graduate school. We can guarantee you of that. And Dr. Blessing, thank you so much for our MC, for keeping our event lively and engaging. Thank you so much for that as well. And a special thank you to our photographer, Mr. Clifford, the DK photographer. Just on that note, he's one of our alumni. And he said he's going to do and cover our event for free. And that is just one thing I would like to really say thank you so much for that. As an alumni, thank you for setting an example. And please, we call all the other alumni to follow his footsteps. So please, let's just give him a big and if you want to see yourself, visit this page as well. Please, all alumni, our office is always available and open if you want to volunteer, if you have ideas, if you want to engage. So with that, I would like to say thank you again to our caterers. We are going to have a lovely brunch now. So just a quick announcement for that. Okay. And then also our SRG, with that I would also like to say thank you. But the most important people, I would like to thank everybody in this room. You have made this event possible, and thank you so much, and please give yourself a hand. Thank you so much. So lastly, thank you so much, and just before we go, I just want to say that everybody, when we leave here, you're going to get somebody's number. You're going to get a business card. But a number is just a number as long as it's in your phone. A business card is just a business card as long as it's in your purse. But the moment you dial it, it becomes a contact. So let's dial those numbers, let's form the contacts, let's build a chain, and let's engage, especially our corporate, let's engage with our alumni as well. So with that, thank you so much. And there's just a few announcements from Dr.